Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk in Scotland, the capital of the entire universe that is known and the entire universe that is not yet known. Welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday, happy Mother's Day to all mothers who may or may not be watching. You are all awesome, and you have my deepest, most profound respect. To everyone else, welcome. So, tonight, we are at 11 p.m. UK time because the United States clocks have gone forward 1 hour for daylight savings time. So our show starts 1 hour early at 11 p.m. for the next 2 weeks, and then the UK clocks also go forward, which means what has happened is the US has gone doink, and then we go, in 2 weeks' time, we go doink. So in 2 weeks' time, the time difference between the central time zone in the United States and the UK for this 2 week period narrows by 1 hour. And then it goes back to normal after that. And then in November, the same thing happens again. Because you guys go back, and then we go back. And so, so that's kind of what happens. It's a fun time. Actually, the reverse is what happens in November. Because we go first, and then the US goes. So, it makes twice a year for me a little bit entertaining. But, for the rest of the time, it's all pretty good. It means that, at 11 p.m., I'm actually still quite alert and quite wide awake and bright and bushy-tailed. And it does mean that, I'm happier to stay up for a wee bit longer and do slightly extended shows for those periods where we have that advantage. So I may or may not do that, depending upon how many people we have here and if people are still asking questions and so on and so forth. So, welcome everybody. Let's go see who we have here. To start with, if I go all the way back up the top, Billy Morgan has resumed his number one spot. He is first in the door. Well done to you. Followed by Boris Dancy. Stephen Wilson is also here. And we got Tony Cardona. I've been answering a couple of his questions. We got Paparaptor Music. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back. We got Daryl Harrison here as well. Ron Figura, Kyle Jadrusiak, Danny Taylor, Sean Aaron, and Just Bob is here as well. Don Oliver is here. DJ Vu is here as well. Tony says, none of the articles solve my problems. Well, actually, that article that I linked you to in the chat there is the article for the missing files error. So actually that article will help you because it's designed to help you resolve missing files errors. Let me explain very quickly, because that was Tony's question. Let me explain very quickly how file management works in Studio One. For those of you that are you're still a bit new to Studio One, or you've been using Studio One for a while, but you maybe not necessarily understood how the file structure works in Studio One. So, you have, for each song that you create, you have a folder for that song. And the folder for that song has the name for that song. So if you've named your song... Oh, Rich Cresswell is here as well. Sorry, Rich, I missed you. Sorry, buddy. So when you name a song, or you create a new song and you name it something, that creates a folder for that song. Inside that folder is the .song file, the executable file that launches the song, and there are a bunch of other folders inside that folder as well. One of which is called Media, and there are a bunch of other ones as well, depending upon what you do within that song. So, for example, if you have some audio events that you bounce, like maybe you do some melodyning or something, then you bounce that. A new folder is made inside your song folder called bounces. And so on and so forth. Other files get created. So when you do a mix down, you get a mixdown folder inside the song folder. Why is this important? It's important for one very, very simple reason. Studio One, when you open up the song, will reference all the items that are inside those other folders inside the song folder. So the media folder, what is that? What goes in there? The media folder contains all the audio that you have recorded. So if you've recorded vocals, guitars, drums, basses, saxophones, flutes, tin whistles, fart sounds, burp sounds, the sounds of a small squirrel vomiting everywhere. If you've recorded it, it has an audio file inside the media folder. Now, if you move that media folder to somewhere else, outside of that song folder, and then you open the song again, you'll get missing files errors because suddenly Studio One will no longer be able to see those files. See, here's the thing. Computers are incredibly complex and incredibly powerful, and they are able to do billions of calculations in a second. However, there is one tiny little flaw in computers. They're fundamentally dumb. They are expecting to find your those folders where they are expected to be. So if you move them and then you open the song again, Studio One is going to look in its original location for those files, and if it doesn't see them, instead of going hunting across your system to go find them, it's just going to come up with a message saying, I can't find them. In some ways, it's a little bit like my kids, right? My kids like to spread their clothes out all over the floor, all over the chair, all over their desk, okay? Now, if I go into their room and I tidy up their clothes and I put them in their correctly labeled drawers, nice and neatly folded, and their room is nice and tidy. And then I say to my son Sam, I say, Sam, go put a change of clothes on because we're going to a smart restaurant. He'll go into his bedroom and he'll be expecting to find certain items of clothing on the floor. They're not there anymore. I've put them away in the labeled drawers. So he will then shout down to me, he'll say, Daddy, I can't find my clothes. That's the missing files error. Because he's expecting to find them on the floor and I've put them in their drawers. Because I think, hey, that's a sensible thing to do with his clothes. Take them up off the floor, put them in his drawers, nice and neatly labeled drawers. It should be fairly sensible. He should be able to find those, right? Computers are not intelligent like that. They will only do what they're told to do. So if you take the files and the folders outside of your song folder and put them somewhere else, like iCloud Drive or OneDrive or another USB drive or somewhere else on your computer, then when you open the song, it's not going to find them. And you'll get the missing files error. How do you resolve that? Well, depends on how many songs are affected and how badly those songs are affected. If you've been doing this a lot over a long period of time, it's going to take a long time for you to sort it out, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to search your computer for those files. Once you have found those files, you are then going to have to put them all back in the correct folder inside your song folder. And then when you open the song, Studio One will now magically, amazingly see those files. And everything will be restored to normal, the missing files error will go away, and the song will work as it should. So here's the secret. Studio One has a file management system built into it by design. And it's designed that way because nothing that you record and the song file itself is not saved or stored inside the program. It's stored within the user data location. Wherever that is set up on your computer, that is where your song files are. And that's where Studio One will look for them. If you change that by manually moving those documents, manually moving those song files, manually moving the media and everything else, Studio One is not going to find them, because Studio One, you have told it by setting the user data path in Studio One, options, locations, user data. You have told Studio One, that's where my stuff is. Go look in there. Scan that folder, you will find all of my songs, you'll find all of my sound sets, you'll find everything. And Studio One goes, yes, that's good. Now when you open your songs behave as they should. But if you move stuff, or if you manually in Windows Explorer, for example, or in Finder on a Mac, move those folders to somewhere else, when you open that song, Studio One is going to scan that location that you've told it your stuff is, and it's not going to find them. It's the equivalent of somebody coming in and tidying your room. Now, that might be you, but not according to Studio One. You're the parent, Studio One is the child. And if you move stuff around, it doesn't know where stuff is. So, you ask for example, I'm going to give you one very, very quickly. Okay, and then I want to show you something very, very cool. So, let's go over to Studio One. So, you go to Studio One, options, or its preferences on a Mac, and then you go to locations. And this tab here called user data, see here says user data location, songs, projects, shows, presets, etc. Mine is d:/songs. Okay, so let's click on this. And if I go to songs, you'll find there's a whole bunch of songs. Now, I did a show on this just the other week, actually. So go review that, but it's worth showing this again. So if I go into here, you will see stems, history, cache, bounces. Now, if I close that, and if I open this in Explorer regularly, you'll see the whole folder. Let me go. Let me just bring this over. Here we go. So here is my D drive. Here's my songs. If I open this and I go, I've got another nested songs folder in here. If I open this, and then if I open, I'll open a different song this time. Let me find something that's gonna work, that's got some audio files in it as well. Here we go. Let's try this one. Droplets in a Cave. All right. So what do we have in here? So this is a song folder, Droplets in a Cave. We have the song, the .song file. We have samples because I have used some samples. We have media. This is the folder I was telling you about. So in here, we just have one file. Now, if I decide I'm going to take this media folder and I'm going to move it and put it somewhere else, then I open this song, I'll get missing files errors, because this is where Studio One is expecting to find all of that stuff. All right. Same with the cache, same with the bounces. So in here, we've just got a mix down because I did a mix down of all my tracks. And then here we've got another mix down. Okay. So if I move any of these folders that have got reference items inside them anywhere else, when I open this song, you will get the missing files error. Guaranteed. Now, I'm not going to open this song for a very good reason. One, I know that this song was recorded at 44.1. I have everything set to 48K, and we will lose audio, and actually OBS might crash if I open this song. Don't want to do that. But that's what will happen. If I was to delete or move any of these to anywhere else, if I was to go media, let's send this to somewhere else, or if I was to copy it, or if I was to just literally just drag and drop this to Dropbox, for example. Let's say I was going to go and drag this, drop this onto Dropbox to literally move it, not just copy it, but move it, then this media folder is gone, and this Vox file is gone. Now, as it happens, I know what I just did. So I can easily just go back and put it back. Take me all of 15 seconds, and I resolve my missing files error. But if you've been doing this over a long period of time for several different songs, and you've just gone, you know what, my C drive is starting to get full, I need to move some stuff. So I start moving stuff over to a thumb drive or an external drive or something else like that. If you do it haphazardly, you're going to have a big problem. You will open every song and it will give you missing files errors every time, guaranteed. Because Studio One is not able to see where you've put the song, where you've put these folders. Because it's expecting to see them inside the song folder. And unless you have told it they are somewhere else and it is looking in that somewhere else, it's not going to find them because Studio One doesn't automatically search your system. So that's what you're going to have to do. Now, if you are getting this over the course of several songs and you've got some stuff in iCloud Drive, you've got some stuff on an external drive, you've got some stuff on a thumb drive, and there's some stuff on a C drive, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. Because you're going to have to open every song, you're going to have to find out what files are missing or being reported as missing, and then you're going to have to search for those files across all of those locations that I've just talked about. Once you have found those, move them back to where they should be, in the song folder. If it's media, put them back in the media folder. So what goes in here? This is WAVs, all right? This is anything that you have recorded. So if you have recorded a vocal part, a guitar part, a trumpet part, a sax butt part, if you have farted into a microphone to capture that classic fart sound, it's going to be in here. That's where it has to be. Otherwise, Studio One is not going to bring that into your song. It's not going to be able to reference it to make your song work. Okay? So if you've done that over the course of several songs, it's going to be hard for you to deal with. Now, let me just say this from the start, Tony. You are definitely not the only person who has done this. Okay? I have been working for Presonus for 4 years. And in that time, I have seen this many, many, many multiples of time. And I have seen some where it's just a couple of files that have gone missing. They just decided to move a couple of files and now they Studio One doesn't find them. I say, oh, that's easy. It's only 2 files. Just locate those files, put them back. Job done. Fixed. But, as I said the other week, there was one guy that I helped with. I actually remoted into his computer. And he had, on every song I opened, at least 300 missing files. And then he proceeded to show me his filing system. His filing system, although very logical, was not the Studio One filing system. It was his own custom filing system. What he had done was he had created a folder that had just the .song files in them for all of these songs, right? Then he had another folder called audio files, and inside that was every audio file for a whole bunch of songs, and he didn't know which was for which because they were, he had like 500 bass files, 500 violin files, 500 guitar files, and he didn't know which belonged in which song. So for him, it's going to take him a very, very, very long time because he's going to have to audition each one of those audio files in that audio files folder and figure out which song it belongs to and put it back in the media folder for that song. It's the only way he's going to be able to resolve his issue. It's going to take him a long time. I couldn't sit there on a remote and help him do it because I would still be there today and I was working with him 6 months ago. I would still be on that remote today helping him do that because he had done this for several years. And yet he didn't know why he was getting missing files errors every time. Until he basically went, I don't know how to fix this. This problem is getting worse and worse. I don't know how to fix this. I need to contact tech support. So he did. And I was the person that happened to reach out and help. But, so, what am I saying here? This can happen to anybody, okay? I've seen this happen with high-end artists. I've seen this happen with this particular person I'm referring to. So, the solution is both simple, but it can also take a very, very long time, depending upon how long it's been going on for and how scattered things are. If things are far-flung across the your computer universe, then yeah, it's going to take a while. Especially if this has happened in several songs. It's going to take a while. And there's not a lot that either myself or anybody else here can do to help massively, other than say, you're going to have to look. You're just going to have to search, and then you're going to have to bring those files back to where they should be. Okay? So, that is how the file structure works in Studio One. Everything is in the song folder. So, the next question is going to be, so let's say I have a new computer and I want to move all of my songs from computer A to computer B. How do I do that without getting missing files errors? There's a really, really easy way. And I'm going to go back to my folder over here. This folder here is just called songs. It is the only folder on my D drive. I don't store anything else on this drive except for my Studio One songs. So, all I need to do is I need to make a copy of this folder. Okay? This folder contains everything. All right? You'll find that within this songs folder, if I go all the way down through all of these songs, you'll find that there is another nested songs folder. I can find it. Where's it gone? Yeah, it's definitely here. But yeah, there's another nested songs folder in here. There it is. So I'll open up this because I have moved several times to several different computers. And then there's another nested one. And then there's all of these songs, all in alphabetical order. PQRS. And is there another songs folder in here? No, I think we've got to the end. All right. So if I want all of these songs from, I know some of these go back like to 2014. If I want all of these songs on my new computer, I need to go to the root songs, which is this one here, and I need to make a copy of this folder. So I go over here, I right click this, and I make a copy, and then I put this copy on an external hard drive. Once it's all done, there's a lot of song data there, it's going to take a while. So once it's done, then I disconnect that hard drive from my computer, and I go over to my other computer, my brand spanking new computer, whether it's a Mac or a PC, doesn't matter. And then I plug that external drive into that computer. And then I move that this songs folder, which will now be on the external drive on this other computer. And I move that to where I want it on my new computer. And it might be on the D drive on that particular computer. And then in Studio One, I make sure that I go to Studio One, Options, Locations, User Data, and I make sure that my path here is D/songs. Because I know all of my songs are in that folder. Yes, they are broken into many nested folders, but if Studio One is scanning the root songs folder, it will scan all of those other nested folders inside it. And then everything will be good. Another important thing to do is have this option checked here. Ask to copy external files when saving document. Make sure that is checked. And then hit apply and then hit OK. Why am I telling you to do that? The reason I'm telling you to do that is because when you start a new song and you start dragging in loops from the browser or from another external source into that song and you hit save, if you've not got that selected, when you open up that song, it's going to be disconnected from those loops, for those loops or whatever files it is that you dragged into the song. It's not going to see them. You're going to get a missing files error. However, if you have that option checked, when you save the song, a dialog box will come up saying, do you want to copy these external files to the media folder? And you just say yes. When you do that, all of those files that you have brought into the song will get copied into that media folder that I showed you earlier. And then when you save the song, they will be saved there. A copy of those files will be saved in the media folder. And then the next time you open the song will work. And those external files that you use will remain external. They're not necessary anymore because you've got a copy of them in the song folder. Okay? So I hope that helps. Hope that helps. Let's see. Let's go and see what the chat is going on about. Okay, so Tony says, that's what I probably did. I moved my folders. Yes, that may well be what happened here, Tony. And like I said, you're not the only one that's done this. I think most of us have done this at one point or another. And I'll tell you something. I'm not immune from this. Years ago, actually back when I was in Cubase, I actually inadvertently did exactly that. Because actually Cubase works in the same way. And most DAWs do as well. Actually, it's not this file structure that I've just shown you is not unique to Studio One. Cubase works in exactly the same way. And you know, from the very few times I've used Pro Tools, and I'm talking, you know, maybe, you know, 100 times over, you know, 30 years that I've used Pro Tools, it works in the same way. And I was using a thumb drive because I was working in a studio that I don't normally work in, and I was working on their Cubase rig, and I was working on their song, and at the end of the session, I hit save, I unplugged the thumb drive, I went back home to go work on the session in my own studio, plugged that thumb drive into my computer, missing files errors. It's exactly the same thing. Because those files are on the computer in the studio, not on my computer. So when my computer is looking for those files, it's not going to see them because they exist over on that other computer. And that's why I did not see them. And that's why I had that issue. So what I needed to do was go, idiot, which is what I did. And then the second thing I did, I went back to the studio and I opened up the session on the computer that I had been working on that studio, and I copied all the external files onto the thumb drive into that media folder on the thumb drive, and then I hit save again, and then I took out the thumb drive. I said bye to the guys again, and off I went back home. Plugged the thumb drive in, opened up the session. There they are. Everything's there. And I could work on the song further, which is what I did do. So yes, file management in Studio One is really simple. But I think quite often what we can do is we can end up overlooking how simple it is. We think that if we move something, computers are smart enough to know that we've moved them and where we've moved them to. They don't follow our actions. Computers don't follow our actions unless you tell them to. Okay? Computers rely very much upon our input in order to know what to do with a file that we've created on the computer. Especially if you've got connected files and folders connected to a song, like we do with DAWs. I mean, with something like Microsoft Word or an Excel spreadsheet, you don't have that problem because it's a self-contained document. You can move that sucker anywhere. However, if you copy your Word document onto an external drive, and then or you move it to your external drive, and then you plug it in on your computer, it will open up on your computer just fine. But then let's say you go back to the first computer that it was created on, it's not going to open up anymore, because Word is not going to see that file, because now that file doesn't exist on the computer, it exists on your other computer. So that's kind of how file management works, broadly in general for computers, broadly in general. But specifically when it comes to DAWs, when it comes to songs and Studio One, that's how it works. And fixing it is definitely a long haul. It's a pain in the butt. And it's not that there is something broken in Studio One, and it's not that it's not that there's a bug or anything like that. This is actually the design of the file structure of the DAW, and this is actually how pretty much every DAW is structured. Similar kind of way. They may call the folders a different thing. Like in Pro Tools, the media folder is called something else. I think it's called just audio. I think that's what it's called. Or playlist or something like that. Whereas in Studio One, we call it media, because it makes sense to call it media, because you might not just have WAV files in there. You might actually have, with Atmos now, you might have BWAV files. You might also have video files in there, all that have got to be referenced by the song and by Studio One. So yeah, it is a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. Keith says, starting to wonder if Presonus may consider encapsulating the song into a single file that is only opened within Studio One. With so many cases of people messing with the file structure and appears completely clueless. I don't think they'll do that. Mostly because I don't think it can be done. Because if that could be done, then you would find other DAWs that do that. And there really aren't any. Now, the Studio One song format itself can only be opened in Studio One. You can't open a Studio One song in Ableton Live. You cannot open a Studio One song in Pro Tools. Okay? They're not compatible with each other. So in that sense, they are encapsulated in that they can only be opened inside of Studio One. But you will never have a situation where a song is actually stored inside the program. That will never ever happen. Because it would bloat the software phenomenally. DJV says, if you code the piece as a Studio One project, it is more likely to open only in Studio One. Yeah, and Studio One songs only open in Studio One. Let's see what else we got. Has there been any discussion within Presonus about encapsulating all song components so that it's only seen as a single file when in the OS? No, and I don't think it'll ever happen. And as far as I'm aware, there's been no discussion about that. Yeah. I've not heard any. I've not heard any way in which anybody's discussed that ever happening. And to be honest, even if there was, I wouldn't be able to say anyway. But let's just see, what else do we have? Just Bob says, I lost my Halloween challenge song files. I cannot find them anywhere. Scanned all drives and my recycle bin, just gone. All the rest of songs are there. Spooky. No idea what happened. Well, here's the thing. Songs don't delete by themselves. And Studio One certainly doesn't delete songs. Because it can't. There's nothing in the code that is written to delete songs. So I have no idea how that happened. Maybe you inadvertently moved it or deleted it somehow. I don't know. Maybe you accidentally dropped it in the recycle bin by mistake. I know I've done that with files, not necessarily with songs, but I've certainly done that with files where I had a spreadsheet that I needed to present at work, and I accidentally deleted it because I'd accidentally dropped it into the recycle bin when I was not paying attention. How to resolve an issue with too many subfolders. That's too broad of a question, Edgar. I'm not quite sure what you mean, but in your song folder, there can be any number of subfolders. There can be as many as 6 or 7 subfolders, and if they are inside the song folder, it's because they're meant to be there. Okay, if you have like a bounces, a media, a cache, a history, a mixdowns folder, a projects folder, a masters folder, if you've got all of those folders inside your song folder and they've been created there by Studio One, it's because they're meant to be there. They're meant to be there. Don't move them. Leave them as they be. Leave them as they are. They're meant to be there. They're created inside the song folder because that's how it's designed to work. All right, so with all of that said, let's see. I'm going through the chat. Sorry, folks. Yeah, just Bob, you're absolutely right, buddy. The wrong keystroke, you can, any of us can do stuff like that where we've inadvertently just accidentally deleted something. And then, days later we've gone, the recycle bin looks awful full, empty. And you haven't realized that your song is in that recycle bin and now it's gone, you've just nuked it. Yeah, I've been there, I've done that, and I've had to start again from scratch. I've done that. I will admit I've done that, Bob, for sure. All right, so I do have something very cool to show you, and I said I would. And I also said that this cool thing is also going to be a gift I'm going to give to you. So if you are in the chat right now, I'm going to put a link to this thing in the chat after I've shown it to you. If you are watching this on replay, don't worry, you are not left out. You will find what I'm talking about in the description below, okay? And you'll need to, it's not a direct link in there, but you will need to paste it. You'll need to copy it and paste it into the URL, and then you'll be able to get this thing, okay? So I'm going to show you this right now. I will give you a little bit of backstory. This cool little, it's a game. But it's actually for Studio One. Yes, believe it or not, it is a game for Studio One. It is an educational game for Studio One, and it is a script. It was not made by me. It was made by my very good friend, the man, the myth, the legend that is Lawrence Farr, who made the color toolbar, the original color toolbar. And he's made a bunch of other scripts as well that you'll be able to find probably up on the Presonus Exchange. But he's made a bunch of these very, very cool little tools and scripts and things. This one he made just for fun, but it's also educational. So I'm going to show you this right now. So to show you this, I need to go to the home page. So on the start page, you will now see up in the top line here, we have this funny little icon. And if I hover over it, it says Hangman. Yes, we have Hangman for Studio One. So if I click on this little dialog opens. Pro audio terms, tools, and musical instruments. So This is basically just a hangman game, but it helps teach and reinforce pro audio terms, tools, and musical instruments. I'm pretty sure that down the line this will get expanded. I'm sure Lawrence will add different things to this as we go, but this is pretty neat. So to get started, you click on Start New Game. And so we got musical instrument, 7 letters. Let's play Hangman together. Let's see what we have here. So I'm gonna try with the letter B. Okay, it's not a B, so we've got our head in the noose already. Let's go for V. Nope, it's not V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's start with T. Aha. Okay, so we've got a T and a T. I wonder, I know this is probably, I'm guessing this with just 2 letters. Let's see if we've got an R. We do. Okay, let's see if we've got a U. We do. I think this is trumpet, so let's fill this in. So if we go T, R, M, next letter is P, E. And look at that, you get Snoopy doing a little dance at the top of the screen there when you solved it. So we've solved that one. And we only got slightly hanged. Yes, I'm a bad letter guesser. You're quite right. All right, so this one I'm going to deliberately get wrong so you can see what happens. So, DAW file function. So I'm just going to click some random letters and see how quickly I can get us hanged. There we go. So the answer was import and we got hanged. So the answer was import. And it says here missed 10 out of 10 and we got hanged. And he's even got a slightly tilted head and he looks a little bit kind of dead. Okay, let's go again. Type of musical instruments. So it says instruments. So we got 9 letters. So let's try. What letter should we start this one with? Come on, chat. You can join in. What a great way to take a break when mixing. Absolutely. I've been playing this a lot, actually, since Lawrence gave me this script. So what letter should we start with? Somebody suggest a letter. Okay, DJ Vu says K. Chris from Rackner says W. All right. Let's go with W. Now we've got 2 W's. What do we think is going to be next? I know what this is. Now that those 2 W's have appeared, I know what this is. Chris, well done. Woodwinds, correct. Let's fill that out. Word. Wins. S. There we go. And we get a little dancing Snoopy. Woodwinds. All right, let's do one more. Musical instrument. Okay, so this is singular, and we've only got 4 letters. Yep. Woodwinds. Not woodwings, woodwinds. As far as I know, sax players and clarinet players can't fly. Last I checked, anyway. All right, so what do we think to this one? What should we start with? Chris says horn. Just Bob says bass. Well, they're both 4 letters. Let's try with the H. It's not a H, so let's go with the B. And it's not bass. Neil says tuba. Okay, let's try T for tuba. Yes, I think you're right. T-U-B-A. There we go. Well done. Tuba. Well done, Neil. So this game is very, very. It's actually surprisingly addictive. I'll be honest. I've played this game quite a bit. because I wanted to see basically how many games Lawrence has put into this script. He's put quite a lot in. I've not yet found the end before I actually started to go back round the cycle. So this is pretty cool. It's a very cool little script. So if you guys want this script, I am going to post a link to this script for you in the chat. And then you can go get it yourself. So let's put that there. Let's do Control A and Control C to copy. All right, there is the link to go get this script if you want it. So where do you need to put this script? Let me show you. Let me just minimize that. The first thing you would need to do is close Studio One. And then the next thing you need to do is open up Explorer or Finder. And then you need to go to Windows C, Program Files. And then you would need to go to Personas. And then you need to go to Studio One 6. And then Scripts. You open this. And then once you've downloaded that Hangman, it'll be called hangman.package. Once you've downloaded it, then you need to go and drop it into this folder here. So C, Program Files, Personas, Studio One 6, Scripts. If you're on Studio One 5, it'll be Studio One 5 Scripts. I don't think it'll run in version 4, but it'll certainly run in 5 and 6. Okay? So, if you want that script, go get it, go download it. Once you've downloaded it, go to this location, put the Hangman package in this folder. You need to do this with Studio One closed. All right? It's not going to work if Studio One is open. It just won't let you put it in this folder. So make sure Studio One is closed, put the Hangman package in this folder, then close this, restart Studio One, and then you'll see the little Hangman utility here in this utility bar at the top. Okay? Except you're not even seeing this. Sorry, that's my fault. Let me start again. So, once you've downloaded it, I'll say again. Thank you, DJ. Yes. Once you've downloaded that script, it's called hangman.package. Once you've downloaded it to your downloads folder, you need to go to, on a PC, go to Windows, Program Files, Personas, Studio One 6, Scripts. Open up this folder and then put it in here. But you got to have Studio One closed before you do that. So if you have Studio One open at the time that you download this, quit out of Studio One, go to this location, put the Hangman package file in here, close this, relaunch Studio One, and you'll see the little Hangman icon at the top there in the utility bar. All right? So that's how you do it. So if you are on Studio One 5, it'll be Studio One 5 scripts. I don't think it'll work in Studio One 4 though. As far as I'm aware, it won't work in Studio One 4. But it'll certainly work in Studio One 5 and Studio One 6. So if you want this script, it's yours. Get it from that link. If you're watching on the replay, it's in the description box below. What you'll need to do in the description box is where you see it, you'll need to copy it from there and paste it into the URL of your web browser of choice. And then download the package to your downloads folder. And then you need to put it in this scripts folder once you've done that. Okay? And then it's yours. You can have at it. It's totally free of charge. It's my gift to you guys. And don't thank me, thank Lawrence. Lawrence built this. And it's a lot of fun. And it's a good way to, you know, if you're kind of wanting to give your mind a little bit of a break, or you're wanting to give your ears a rest whilst you're working in Studio One, open up the Hangman thing and educate yourself. And see how many you can get right in a row without being hanged. Secret Squirrel is here. Welcome, buddy. I'm glad you're here. We are just about to end the show, actually. We're going to finish in just a few minutes, but I've just been talking about this Hangman package. If you guys want to see this one more time, I'll show you what this is. Let's do new game. Musical instrument, 6 letters. Let's see what maybe we will come up with here. Anyone want to start with a letter? The first one to put in a letter here will be the one that I start with. It's a musical instrument with 6 letters. There is a bit of a delay with the chat, but let's see. Okay, just Bob says B. No, not a B. DJ Vu says A, so let's go for A. Yes, there is an A in there. What else do we think? Oh, Keith says guitar. Edgar says guitar. Okay, well, let's see. Let's go for G. Yep. Let's go and do a U. Yep, it is guitar. Guitar. And there we go. So Keith Chadwick is the winner. Yep, it was definitely guitar. Okay, let's do one more. Door function. 3 letters. So this is a function of your door that has 3 letters in it. What shall we start with? What letters shall we start with? Pressure's on here because we only have 3 guesses basically before we're hanged. Sean is here. Hello, Sean. Good to see you, buddy. I'm demonstrating this Hangman script that my friend Lawrence built. And you can get this. It's in the chat. There's a link to the Dropbox folder where you can get this if you want this. And it works in Studio One. Okay. So, it's a 3-letter word. It's a door function. What do we think? Keith thinks it's WTF. That's funny, but I don't think it is. I mean, I'll put the W in. Nope, it's not a W. Okay, Neil thinks it's cut, so let's start with C. Nope, it's not got a C in it. Sean says S, so let's go for S. It ends with S. Got 2 more letters to get. No, not die. Bus. All right, let's see. So let's go for a U. Yep. And let's go for a B. It is a bus. Well done, DJ Vu. You guys are funny. All right, last game. It's another door function. 3 letters. Now you're probably going to say bus because we just had one that was bus. But I don't think it could possibly be bus again, but let's see. Oh, maybe it is. Yep, it is. Maybe we've just found the cycle. There we go. Door function, 10 letters. This one's going to be a bit harder. Jonny says aux. You were close. It was bus that time. So let's go for a letter C. Nope, there's no C in this one. Yeah, there's 10 letters in this one. So it's not going to be cut. But we know there's no C in this one. So let's go for an E. Nope, there's no E. Let's go for an R. Nope, there's no R. Uh-oh, we're in danger of being hanged here. Side chain. Okay. Well, it can't be side chain because there's no E in it. So it's not, we've done E, it's not going to be side chain. So let's go for T. We've got 2 T's. Second bus was an effects bus. Yes, you may well be right. Normal bus and effects bus. Yeah, I'd go with that. Certainly a plausible explanation. So we got 2 T's. Something T, something T, something. Automation. Let's try that. A. Very good. I think you might be right here. A-U-T. Auto. Where's M? M-A-T-A-T-I-O-N. We got away with it. Well done, DJ Vu. All right. See what I mean? This is such an addictive little game, and it educates you as well. So, and it's a good way to kind of remind ourselves of, you know, musical instruments and DAW functions and stuff like that. So it's a very cool little script. Like I said, if you want it, the link is in the chat. It's a little bit further up now, seeing as you guys have been posting letters. But yeah, go get this script from that link, and it will be yours. And like I said, make sure Studio One is closed, and then put it in the scripts folder. I don't know where the scripts folder is on a Mac, but I do know where it is on a PC. But yeah, it may well be in users shared library for a Mac. I can't quite remember where it is on a Mac. There we go. All right, folks, we'll call it there. We are coming up on midnight. But yes, so if you want this script, go get it, go install it, have fun with it. It's absolutely free. It is my gift to you, courtesy of Lawrence Farr. The guy is a genius. He writes little scripts like this all the time, and they're just a lot of fun. So yeah, go get it. And once you've got it, it should appear in your utility up here, along with if you've got the audio batch converter, you'll see that there. SoundCloud, and then you'll have the Hangman utility, and then the macro organizer. So it should slip right nice and neatly between SoundCloud and the macro organizer. All right, folks, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it, and we had a lot of fun there with the Hangman script. It's a good laugh, and thank you very much for the questions. I hope I was able to get to all of them. Neil Thompson says, I now run Studio One on Windows 10 offline. My CPU now runs the DAW like a breeze. Good for you. I'm very glad to hear it. Unfortunately, I can't run my system offline. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do the show for a start. But yeah, Studio One runs like a breeze here as well. So it's possible that there was something that was something on your computer that might have been connecting in real time online that was bogging down your system. Might have been OneDrive or iCloud Drive or something else. Some other utility that was connecting online that may have been just bogging down your system. That meant that Studio One was having issues. George Matez says, why an instrument with reverb turned dry when transformed to an audio track? That's quite simple to answer that one. It's because when you render it, when you transform it to audio, so you're talking about a MIDI track, and you've put a reverb on there, and then you transform it to audio track. What that does is that prints the reverb as well. Okay, it prints the reverb as well. It unloads everything from that channel. So that includes the reverb. So the reverb is now printed to that audio event. The reverb is gone. So yeah, it's going to be quote unquote dry. What does that mean? It means the audio file, when you play it, it'll have the reverb that's baked into it, that's printed to it. But as soon as you press stop, there'll be no tail. That's because there's no reverb on your channel anymore that's creating that tail. If you want to keep that tail going infinitely, or for as long as you want after you press the stop button or the space bar or the stop button on your fader port or whatever it is, then you need to put the reverb back on the channel. Okay? As soon as that reverb is gone, because the reverb is now printed to the audio event, you'll hear it on the audio event until you press stop, but you won't hear the tail carrying on because the tail is being provided by the reverb plugin on the channel. Okay, so that's why that happens. So I hope that helps. Chris Maracna says, sorry I'm late. Not at all, my friend. Not at all. You know, when we have the switch over to daylight savings time, there is like a little 2-week period where the United States, they go first. And so for 2 weeks, you guys are 1 hour closer to me, which means to make the whole 6 p.m. thing still work, I moved my show 1 hour early so that it's still 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time for you guys, but it's 11 p.m. for me instead of midnight for me. Okay, so I'm the only one that moves. You guys just keep on making sure you're here at 6 p.m. Whether it's going spring forward or whether it's going back for winter. Whichever it is, just make sure you are here at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday or 6 p.m. on a Sunday, and you'll not miss a show. Because that's how I operate. I make sure I'm the only one that moves. So the only person that's inconvenienced is me. Because I start my show an hour earlier than I normally would. Okay? So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys get that. So that, you know, when we get to November time, you know, we'll have that similar situation happen again. And so the show will move, and then the show will move back. So in 2 weeks' time, the UK will spring forward. So at the moment, what's happened is this 6-hour gap between here and the central time zone in the United States. I've got to pick one, so I picked the central time zone. What happens is you guys move before we do. So you become an hour closer to me, and so I move my show to compensate for that, to make sure that it's at 6 p.m. for you. And then when the UK moves, the UK basically goes back this way. So 6 hours becomes 5 hours, then it becomes 6 hours again because the UK moves. And so that is when I move my show back to midnight UK time. And I do that both for springing forward and going back. So I do this twice a year. So long as you keep an eye on your clock and you have it set to 6 p.m., you'll be fine. Neil says, so prior to rendering reverb, good idea is to extend the time of the event several seconds, right? And then the tail will render with it. Well, actually, there's a really cool thing that you can do in Studio One. And before we wrap up, I'll show this. So let's go back over here. Let's go grab a random loop of some kind that doesn't have anything baked into it. Fat chance that I'm going to find something that doesn't have something baked into it. But we will try and find something that doesn't have a reverb. In fact, let's do it. Let's do it this way. I think it was a MIDI instrument that was being used. So let's go and grab presence. And let's go and grab piano. And we'll grab the atmospheric piano. The reason why we're doing atmospheric is because this has modulation, delay, and reverb. Okay, it sounds a bit weird. No piano sound anymore, it's a pad, basically because all the attack is gone. Okay, so let's say we like this, so let's go and put this on. Let's double click there. Let's extend that to there. And then let's just close this and we'll go and draw some random notes in here. So let's go with our pencil tool. Okay, so we've added in some random notes. Let's go and fill with notes. Filter whole part with a bunch of those. Now, I didn't set the range right, so let me do that again. Fill with notes. Use pictures of existing range of existing notes. Yeah, okay. Try that one more time. I must be missing a step. Turn off that. Okay, so we got some random notes scattered literally everywhere. Okay, so let's play this. Now, that's got an absolute megaton of reverb baked into it, all right? Now, let's say we right-click this, and we go transform to audio track. Now, watch this, really important. Render instruments, preserve instrument track, state, remove instrument, okay? Auto tail, this is for reverbs. So make sure this is checked. And let's set this to 5 seconds just because we might need that much. Switch between automatic tail detection or fixed. So we can set that to whatever we want to. And then we'll just do OK. And I'm going to close that editor. And now when I play the track, notice how that stopped. So let's undo that. Let's try that again. And we'll go, where's transform to audio? Transform to audio. We'll set this fixed tail to 5 seconds. So I had auto tail detection on, but we've unchecked that now. Fixed tail, 5 seconds. And now you'll see the part is elongated and we've got this really nice long fade out. So okay, so what we had before was we had no tail. Let's just do that again just to show you one more time. So if I put auto tail on, this value gets ignored and it auto detects the tail. Now, in this case, we had notes running right up to the end of the part, so it didn't really have time to detect anything. Which is why, when you get to the end of it, it's cut. Okay? So, you have to make sure that your tail is included. So, transform to audio track. Uncheck that, fixed tail, 5 seconds. Now we've got our tail. Okay, so if it's an audio track, let's go and grab a loop. And I'll go just this one here. And what we'll do is we'll just mute this guy. This sounds like it's got reverb built in. Yep, that's got reverb built into it because you heard it there at the end, it cut off. Let's say we wanted to keep that going like you were talking about. So let's go and open our console. Close that, don't need those. Let's extend this. let's go and grab a reverb of some kind. Let's go maybe with the Pro R from FabFilter, just because it's cool. Stick that on there, and let's go for something large, like a choir rich hall, for example. Okay, so we've still got our reverb tail in there. We can actually make that a little bit longer. So let's say closer to 3 seconds. Let's go to the end. And we'll just give that a little bit of a... There we go. Okay, now, if we're happy with that, what we need to do here is we need to transform this to rendered audio, and I can't remember how to do that. I can't find the... Okay, if we bounce that, I don't think that includes the reverb, but if I do mix down selection, it might. Let's listen to this. No, it didn't. It didn't do that. But you'll notice that the mix down doesn't have the reverb on it. So yes, I know they can adjust. I did that before. Look, see? See, I've done the fade out there. But what I want to do is I want to print this, and I can't remember how you do transform to rendered audio. That's where I'm having the brain fart, and I don't see it in any of these options here. Because rendered audio would print that reverb, and I'm not seeing it here. Where is transform to rendered audio? Why am I not seeing it? So no, you transform to audio with an instrument track, but you can transform to rendered audio with just an audio track, and I'm not seeing it here, and I don't understand why it's not here. I must be missing something, because I know that is definitely a thing. But I can't remember how you get to it. And yes, it's not on the track, it's on the send. Yes, that's exactly right. So if this was up here, then yes, it would work. There you go. That was it. Transform to rendered audio only works when it's on the insert and not the send. That's what I was doing wrong. So let's do transform to rendered audio. Let's do max tail length to 10 seconds, just for funsies. And it still cuts off. Still cuts off. Transform to rendered audio. Uncheck that. Mixed. Fixed tail length, 7 seconds. There we go. Fixed. There you go. Yeah, I was doing two things wrong. First of all, the reverb was The reverb needed to be on the insert, not the send. That was the first thing I was doing wrong. And then the second thing I was doing wrong was I was not doing it from this menu here, from the track menu. I was doing it from the event menu, which is why I wasn't finding it. So yeah, the tail is there. As you can see with our nice little long fade out there. There we go. But yes, thank you, Rich. You corrected my 2 mistakes there. All right, so I think we'll call it there. We'll call the end of the show with that final question. It was a good one. Well done. Thank you, Neil, and thank you, Rich, for fixing my brain fart. I appreciate it. I don't have those very often, but when I do, so there is an extended tail function, whether it be instrument or audio render. Very good. Yes, exactly. You just got to make sure that if you want a reverb on an audio event, make sure that that reverb is on the insert, not the send. I know it sounds like it shouldn't be like that, but it is. And then you will get the transform to rendered audio option, and then it'll give you the option to set the tail length, and then away you go. It will sound good. And Peter Brooks is like, end of the show. Yes, it is. It is the end of the show. As I've explained earlier in the show, but I'll finish up with this just to make sure that everybody understands this. The United States, their let me start that sentence again. The United States clocks have gone forward for springtime. So because I set the time that my show starts by the United States Central Time Zone, which I always say 6 p.m. Central. That's why I say that, because that's when my show starts. In the United States, at 6 p.m. in the Central Time Zone, that's when my show starts. Now, they've moved forward an hour. The UK has not moved forward an hour. So the time difference between Central Time, UK, is normally 6 hours. Okay? But when the clocks change, that becomes 5 hours for a period of about 2 weeks. So during those 2 weeks, I move my show to make sure that when I say 6 p.m. Central, it's 6 p.m. Central, whether that's daylight saving or standard time. Okay? So that's why my show moves twice a year by 1 hour. In the spring when we go forward, and in the winter when we go back. Okay? Because the earth is not flat. All right, folks. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. If you have not done so yet, please smash the living crap out of that like button. I would appreciate it. We had like nearly 30 people here today. That was fantastic. And then kind of I said we're ending the show, and then I did Neil's question at the end because Neil asked his question and I kind of missed it. So that's on me. So yes, it's that time of the year when we spring forward into springtime. So awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys a lot. We've got 21 likes, 17 people here at the moment. Thank you for sticking around, you guys, at the end. I appreciate it. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of after show Zoom or not. But yes, please feel free to absolutely punch the living daylights out of the like button and the subscribe button. If you're still feeling a bit punch happy, do that as well. And if you still want to punch something, punch the living daylights out of the notification bell to make sure that you are notified. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified, where we will be continuing with stuff that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I will see you then, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy the first half of your week. Good night, folks. And we have an after show Zoom. Thank you, Billy Morgan.